Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Real Talk with Love. I am Coach Barbara Perkins, and I come to you every Monday at this same time for the last 22 weeks. And I am just happy. Hey, Rodney, Deidre, happy to be on today. I came in a few minutes early to give folks a chance to get in here and let us get settled for this conversation we're about to have. Of course, you know, Brannis is singing us in, and she'll sing us out as well. Brannis McKenzie singing Sisters at the Well, a song she wrote for us in 2010, I believe. It's been over 10 years. Oh my goodness. So this is Sisters at the Well, and there's my Charlene. Hi, Charlene. How are you today? If you're good, give me hearts. Let me see. It's always good to have you, my sister. I hope you got your gift this week. So happy Monday, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Cody. Come on in. Let us have a little conversation today. It's going to be light today. We're going to keep it light. We're not going to get too heavy. But we're going to talk about lessons we learned during this COVID era. Oh, my. I'm going to turn Brannis down a little bit. Yes, come right on in. I love the heart, Charlene. Come on in. Hey, Coralie. My dear sister from the Bahamas. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You didn't get your gift yet. Okay, well, Sabrina, I know she's mailing it to you. We talked about it. So this is Monday, and this is Real Talk with Love coming to you from Sisters at the Well. I am Coach Barbara Perkins, for those who may not know who I am. And for the last 22 weeks since we've been sheltered in, we've been meeting right here at this metaphoric well. And we've been talking about some of the things that are pressing and on our minds and on our hearts, and some of the things that keep us stuck or make us sad, or ways to keep our joy and our peace. We've talked about it all. We've talked about grief and fear, resilience. Hey, Della. We talked about planning for your legacy. We talked about hurt. Ooh, that was interesting. We talked about restoration, right? We've had some really good topics in the last 22 Mondays that we've been coming on. Hi, Serena. Nice having you. So tonight is no different. We're going to hop in. We're going to talk about lessons learned during this COVID-19 era, and what are we taking away from this? You know, what are we, when we come out of this, right? Because we are homebound, sheltered in. But when we come out of this, what's the meaning of it? How do we make meaning of all of this? And how are we changed? What are we going to do differently? And how are we enhanced by what we can call a setback? You know, sometimes you got to step back to get that big jump forward. So this could have been one of those times when it was a setback. We didn't plan it, had no control over it, but it happened. So come on in, hit your share button for me, please. Let's share this with a few other friends. You know, we get a lot of views in the evenings after we've done the live. But of course, I love it when you guys join me live. It's been great. I love the support. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Linda, Sam, who is always in the thread helping me out. I'm hoping that we can share it tonight with our Sisters at the Well Morning Inspiration Group. We haven't shared it with them for the last couple of weeks, so that was my bad. I forgot. So I'm hoping that Linda would do that for us tonight. Before we get started into our topic, very light tonight, we're going to talk about good lessons learned, and how we are different and what's going to be different in 2021, because that's what we're looking at now. But of course, before we talk about that, we always have to acknowledge what's going on around us. But let me tell you what was brought to my attention by my wonderful son, Cody Perkins. He shared with me last week that, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about COVID because COVID is on our minds. There's not a day for me, since March 11th, that I have not said either the coronavirus or COVID-19 multiple times in the day. What about you? We are consumed. We can't escape what's going on in our environment. And so when we start to talk about it, what Cody shared with me, he goes, it's kind of like a downer, because it really is sad. And so that's not what we want to do in these 25, 30 minutes. I mean, we want to acknowledge, because there's so much pain around us. And this week, no different from all of the other weeks. We've had a lot to absorb. Hi, Tracy. We've had a lot to absorb this week. You know, Wakanda forever, right? Was that not so sad to read about our Chadwick? I mean, I looked at everything that I thought he wrote or said, and I Googled him all weekend, and I was feeling a little sad about that. Hi, Gwen. And rightfully so. It's heavy. It's heavy. But I also got really, really inspired by some of what I was reading, because this good brother, this dear black man, he was suffering. He was going through his difficult time, but he made the best of it. He used every ounce of energy that he had. I mean, this man depleted himself on earth, and he did it in service to other people. So it made me think, when Cody brought this to my attention about, when we talk about COVID, we tend to take a dip down into the sad zone. When he brought that to my attention, I said, that's real. I don't want to do that. I want to acknowledge the pain and the hurt that people are going through. Hi, Brandy and Chanel. I want to acknowledge that. And for those of you who may be going through any kind of hurt or grief, pain, we pray for your peace and your comfort. We pray that you can move beyond your hurt to a better life, that your memories and your joy with your loved ones will carry you through, right? That's what we pray for. So today, I'm not going to talk about COVID in that, how many have lost their lives, because we know far too many. But I will talk about it from the standpoint that we are still in it. We are still in it, and we have to not give up. We cannot quit before this is over. This battle is not over yet. So we still have work to do. Those of us who are able, we still have to wear our mask and be sensible and protect ourselves and care for those who may need a little extra. We still have to make phone calls. Have you called that person, who you probably don't really like to talk to a lot, because maybe they talk too long on the phone, or they're lonely, and or they got a lot of problems, pick up the phone. Give yourself permission to just give them 30 minutes, even an hour. Call them, right? Call them. Say hello. You might be the only voice that they've heard. So I'm going to say in this COVID time, what's going on around us is god awful. The numbers are horrible. The sadness is just heavy. But what I know for sure is that those of us who are on this thread this evening, hey, Gwendolyn, we have been blessed. We continue to be blessed. We have a lot to be grateful for. And so I'm going to spend time with joy tonight. So joy in the sense of we're going to acknowledge those things that we will do better about, meaning the lessons we have learned as a result of this disaster. Because it didn't just happen. There is a purpose and a reason. If you believe that the creator of the universe has a mastermind and all that is happening comes out of that mastermind, then you would know that there is a plan in place. I just thought I'd pause and let that sit in. You would know that there's a plan in place. And if there's a plan in place and we're here, then my goodness, we must have a role to play. Rhonda and Kim, thank you for joining. We must have a role to play in this master plan. So I'm going to say tonight, we're going to keep it light. We're going to talk about, I have 7 things that I have learned during this COVID period. And I'll ask you to put some of your lessons in the thread because other people are reading it and it might be something that really inspires them and touches them. But I'm going to share with you 7 things that I've learned, and I intend to not just acknowledge that it was an awareness. I intend to change, to shift, to pivot, to begin to practice these new things I've learned. Because, sometimes we get lessons and we think that the lesson is just for a moment. I believe that there are some life lessons that came out of COVID. And so I want to share mine with you. And if they resonate with you, put some stars in the thread, put some comments in the thread about it, okay? All right, so here are my 7. The very first thing that I've learned is that family is the most important presence in my life. We talk about family, we talk about, oh, my family, I love my family. But truly, the first month that we were sheltered in, it was Stanley and I. And our children, Cody was in California and Kelsey was in Maryland. And I had such a longing to be with my children. I had such a burning desire to just be close to them. And what was really scary was because we didn't know very much about this COVID thing, this coronavirus thing, it was scary, the thought that it was a good possibility that I might not see them again, that I might not touch them and speak to them and have an experience with them and participate in their well-being and have them tell me about their stories and their memories. I am so blessed tonight because both of my adult children are here with us, including our grandson. They are here. We are blessed beyond measure because a lot of families are separated. So what I learned is that as much as I said I love family, and God knows I do, But we often take for granted these moments of importance that can be gone in a blink of an eye. So that's a lesson, including the extended family, those who I knew I should be picking up the phone and calling, but I wasn't calling them regularly. Even those, I now call my brothers, and I still have some more work to do. Let me tell you guys, I'm Coach Barbara, but I'm human. I'm learning as you are. There are some folks in my family I haven't spoken to in months. And there is an opportunity for me to do that now. I chickened out a little bit. I created a family group chat so that we can chat that way. But I got some more in me that I need to work on. And I'm sharing it with you because if you do, you know those phone calls that we ought to make at least one more attempt, right? If you do, make that call. Family is everything in this present moment, and we don't want to take it for granted. So that's my first one. Coralie said, yes, missing family. I understand. My next one is, this was a big lesson for me, reevaluating my time. Hey, Sharon. Time management. Oh my goodness. I've always been a busy person, and those who know me, you know that I'm always working on something, some 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 projects. I'm always busy. But you know what? I wasn't really managing my time in the way that I know that I could. I traveled so much. Some of this came from my 17 years as a flight attendant, just staying on the road, used to traveling so much that when I retired from the airline, I've been retired since 1995. But my work as a coach, I travel for that work. And I realized that I was traveling so much that I was actually losing the importance of really spending quality time with me, and that I could do better with my time management. How much of that work could I have done at home versus being on the road? And then really thinking about the impact of all of that movement, just gotta go. I lived in California for so long. I love award shows. So now that we're in Georgia, my first year in Georgia, I was in California twice a month, going to award shows. It's award season. I can't miss that show. I gotta go to that show. I was traveling just on the plane. And the physical impact that it had on my body, I was not paying attention to. And again, this is post-cancer treatment. So I have some physical limitations, but I was pushing through those limitations so I can get to the next award show. Not really reassessing. I've done that now during COVID. How are you spending your time? Can you manage that time better than you were doing prior to COVID? Now that we've been home. The third one, a commitment to health and wellness. This was a big one for me. Now, again, here's someone who only 3 years coming out of cancer treatment. So health and wellness was on the top of my mind. But what Sharon just made me laugh. She said, getting fat. Girl, we can do a whole session on COVID meals, right? And eating everything. Because the first month, I tell you, Lord have mercy, I just don't know. I was having this out of body experience, going to the refrigerator every 30 minutes. I don't know why, looking for something. And because before we were sheltered in, we went to Costco's and Sam's and Publix every day. And so you piled up, all the snacks and all the goodies. And God knows when you see all this stuff, you just start eating it. Well, health and wellness has become a priority for me right now. Because we know that in a blink of an eye, things can change. And so I've never thought so much about my immune system prior to this COVID-19. I know everything about the immune system, how to build it. What are the natural things we need to be doing so that we are strong-bodied in case there's something? I am taking every kind of old-fashioned tonic that my grandmama them used to take. I showed Kelsey, my daughter, how to make, I don't know what it's called, but it's brown liquor and garlic and thyme and pepper. And it's steeped for weeks in a jar. And you take a shot of that every night. Now, of course, you're going to get a little tipsy because this is some strong stuff. But my great grand aunt, used to take a shot of that every night. And of course, my grandmother lived until she was 100. All of my family lived way into their aging years, post 80. And it's because they participated in this immune system building. And so that has become really important for me. Gwen said I cook healthier and even lost weight. I was not going to be part of the COVID 10 or 15. Girl, good for you. I'm still there. I just started walking again because I fell off the wagon a few times, but I'm walking again. In fact, just today I said to Cody about an hour ago, okay, I have 4,000 steps. I got to get on it. I got a couple more thousand to go today. So the importance of health and evaluating your health and making your health a priority, making sure that your body is strong enough to withstand things that may come. That was my third lesson. Fourth lesson for me, economic stability. For me, let me just speak for myself, just spending too much on every little thing. Again, now, I said I love my family. I'm so happy that my adult children are back in the home. And this is temporary. We just agreed that we would all be sheltered in for 2020. But they are adults. So my daughter has said to me, Mommy, you have too many things. I have 8 sets of dishes. I don't know how many glasses and vases and trinkets and things, just spending. And then when this hit, you have to take a stronger look at your finances. Can I live one full year without a paycheck? Who would have thought? We thought this thing was going to be a month, maybe. Right? Emergency planning. I'm not talking about your savings that we should have. I'm talking about emergency planning. That money that you set aside for if that paycheck does not come in. And God knows, I understand a lot of people can't do that. It's difficult. It is difficult. But what I'm going to offer is that we find a way to bring in some other residual income so that we can make it a priority. Because I know that in a situation like this, for those who were getting the stimulus money, that was wonderful for a while. It wasn't enough for a lot of families because if you live in some states, you can't pay your rent. But at least it was something coming in. And then all of a sudden it stopped. It stopped, and folks in Washington, D.C. are playing games with our lives. So we can't depend on that. There is no guarantee that anyone's coming to bail us out. So we have to make it a priority to have an emergency fund, not the savings. You got to have a savings. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about that money that is set aside to carry you through when the next disaster hit. Because it doesn't have to be COVID. It can be anything. It could be something that's personal to your family. Think of those families who got hit by Katrina or Hurricane Harvey or Dorian. So emergency planning, critical, not optional for us. So that was lesson number 4. Lesson number 5, this was really, and I'm a pretty detail-oriented person, but this one hit me right in the face. Having every piece of paper that is important to you, all of your legal paperwork, copies of your driver's license, your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, the deeds to your home, all of those things ought to be transferred to digital. All of those things. Because anything can happen. I worked for a few months, 6 months, with the SBA, helping families who were burnt out or flooded out after natural disasters. And the sadness when you encounter a family who comes in with not one thing that they could use as identification. I'm offering you this idea that whatever you have that's important, all your documents, make copies, put them on a digital device of some kind, share a copy. My sister in Florida, Deborah, she has a copy of all the things that's most important to me. Yes, it's time consuming, but it's not optional. It will be quite helpful. Okay, that was lesson number 5. Number 6. Again, here we are, this is 22 weeks for us here, and 3 weeks before that was when we locked down. So 25 weeks we've been sheltered in. We have been homebound for 25 weeks. One of the lessons that I learned is that I love my home. What I love about my home is I created a place where I can find peace, where I can actually sit and enjoy myself, even if it's just reading a book or sitting and watching a movie. But I've created a space that I could be proud of and that I enjoy and that I feel good about. Now, I'm not talking about you. I'm just sharing what was good for me. Having a place that I could actually look around and say, I really like this. I don't know if you see my art behind me. Every room in my house has art because I love art. So I can literally go and sit anywhere in here, whether it's a 1 room or a 2 room. Create something that you can enjoy. Did we know we were going to be sitting in the house for 25 weeks? Having an appreciation. I know Charlene has the most beautiful green plants. I wish that is on my list. Is to be able, I love greenery in a home, right? I love it. So to be able to have plants that I love. And one of the saddest things is that during this COVID time, being locked down with folks that you may not be happy with, or they may not be happy with you. It's real. We know that domestic violence has gone up, scary numbers. And we know that some people don't have the options. But if there's any small space, if it's just your side of the room that you can create something that gives you joy or peace, whether it's a flower or it's a piece of art or it's a place where you can sit and meditate. Appreciation for your home. Sharon says there's a difference between a house and a home. You're right. You know, okay, my son will kill me for saying this, but I sort of nag and I say, clean your room and make your bed. Of course, then when he does that, he's like, doesn't want to come downstairs because he's enjoying it so much. But you're peaceful. It helps with your mindset. How you feel about your environment is very important. That's a lesson learned for me. And so there's always spaces here where we can go and sit, you know, whether it's a back porch in your backyard, put a little table and a chair and a book and a flower and a plant, something, right? That you can enjoy. We're here for the rest of the year. That's how I see it. I'm not trying to alarm you, but I'm just saying, I'm good. I don't have to go. I'll see you in 2021 and I'm good. In fact, I'm thinking our anniversary, Stan and I, our anniversary, 35 years is coming up next weekend. I might even have our own little jazz concert in the backyard. Just, you know, put a little something up and put the music on and make some food and sit out there and just, I'm good. I don't have to be, because I've created a home environment, a space that I enjoy. So I will offer that as a lesson. And then the final lesson for me tonight, because I know there are more, is I have a spiritual practice. What about you? If never ever before, God knows we need a spiritual practice right about now. Because there are times when this thing just feels so heavy. When the news is so god awful that you have to have something that you can draw on. You know, you have to have something that you can just pull peace into yourself. So I have a spiritual practice, you know, and it's prayer. It's anchored in prayer. It's anchored in studying God's word. That works for me. And then I have this little group of women, small little army, every Monday morning. And we've been doing this now. This is going on 3 years. Every Monday morning, we get on a prayer call. We started out doing it for 9 days. It was supposed to be 9 days of prayer for my 60th birthday. That was the gift that I wanted from my friends. I said, can you pray with me for 9 days leading up to my 60th birthday? And that's been almost 3 years ago. And we are still gathering on Monday mornings. We did it this morning. We had a wonderful 30 minutes, that's all, where we do a little Bible study and we read together and we encourage each other and we pray for each other. I don't know what your spiritual beliefs are, but I know that we have to believe in something bigger than ourselves, something bigger than who we are. And so that's my practice. It works for us. And I would encourage you to do that. And then having a community to share that with that's the icing on the cake. When you can pick up the phone and you could call a few folks and say, you know, look, I'm feeling low. I need to pray. Or can you pray for me? And know that they really mean that, and know that they really mean it for your good. So those are my 7 main lessons learned during this COVID season. I hope that they have been helpful to you. Hi, Shashada. She's on my Monday morning call. I hope that this has been good for you. I know that there are other lessons to be learned. And so I'm waiting for those. And as they come, again, I'm not talking about lessons that we just think about for a moment. I'm talking about how we shift and incorporate those lessons into our lives. So you remember, this is Real Talk with love. There is no judgment here. This is Real Talk with love. I'm Coach Barbara. It's always my joy on Monday to come and sit for these few moments and share my heart, my thoughts with you. I pray that you get something out of it. And I trust that you would right now hit the share button, because it's not too late. Maybe even start a watch party with a friend or friends so that they can get some of it as well. That might be something for them. And I just thank you for being in the thread. Now, I have a gift for someone. So if this is your first time joining us, can you put in the thread, "It's my first time on Real Talk with Love," and I will send you something. I'll reach out to you. Okay? But I'm so happy that you're here. I also have another gift for everybody. I just want you to hear about a minute and a half of a new song. It's not really a new song by Brannis. It's really a song she wrote a while ago. But I want you to hear it because it's so sweet. So thank you. I love you. Thank you, Tracy and Gwen and Della and Charlene. I didn't see Juanita tonight. Rhonda, thank you for being here. So let's listen to this little song. You would love it. This is Brannis McKenzie.
May the peace of God refresh you every day. May the Holy Spirit help your heart to say, I am here right now in a full and blessed way. It's the peace of God and the Holy Spirit. Yes, the love of God restores me, yes, today.
Isn't that pretty? It's called May the Peace of God Be With You Every Day. That is my prayer for you. Have a good night. As Charlene would say, I love you on purpose. And thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Good night.